Hi, everybody, and welcome to our first event of National Internship Awareness Month, and that is Experience Talks on Campus Leadership to Transferable Skills. We're going to go ahead and get started since we only have about 30 minutes today. So, my name is Alyssa. I'm an Experiential Programs Assistant with the University Career Center, and we are very excited to partner with Jeremiah Stinnett, and I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jeremiah Snett. I go by Jerry, so you can definitely call me Jerry. I'm the Assistant Director of Student Leadership Programs here at UTD over in the Student Development Office. So, yeah, that's where I'm located. That's who I am. And I'm excited to talk to you guys today a little bit further about both leadership opportunities, kind of a sort of a cool thing that Leadership Programs has been working on, but also to connect with Alyssa and the Career Center and talk about how we can transfer some of these skills over to your real life jobs, your real opportunities after.
Awesome. Thank you, Jerry. So, to expound upon that a little bit, today's presentation, we're going to learn how to leverage and communicate your on campus experiences during your internship search by using the concept of marketable skills. So, some examples that we'll go over and how this can apply to your internship search are your resume and cover letter, the application itself, and the interview process. So I'm going to let Jerry take it away and explain some of these marketable skills.
Yeah, absolutely. So the main thing I want to talk to you guys about today is these marketable skills. And what these are these concepts that we've actually utilized here at the University of Texas at Dallas, but also all statewide in Texas. So this is a concept that was actually brought on by the whole state of Texas, and UTD has adapted them to help us better understand how we utilize our leadership, the experiences we have on campus, and how they give us skills that we're able to actually translate over and transfer over and use in our real life or in our career afterwards. So it's a really interesting concept. So the 5 skills that we're actually going to talk about are global competence, teamwork, communication, problem solving, and professionalism. And so what I want to do is I want to go through each of these. I want to give you guys just a good idea and a good handle of what those are, but then also give you some examples of what sorts of opportunities are already available here at UTD that you could even get involved in. That might be a great way for you to actually start learning these skills, pick up these skills, but then be able to add them to your resume, be able to incorporate them into your experiences, and be able to talk about them in the future. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go one by one. We're going to go through each of these parts, and I'll give you a little bit more details about it. So the first one we're going to talk about is global competence, and you can see there at the top the kind of the base description, right? Demonstrates openness, inclusiveness, sensitivity, and the ability to effectively engage in regional, national, and global communities. So the thing here with global competence is this idea that we are learning and taking in intercultural communication, right? That's a really key skill that you're able to pick up when you do events and programs that help to build your global competence. The great thing about UT is we have such a diverse and amazing population of students here that you're not only learning from your experiences with other students, but there are just so many programs and so many opportunities to get involved on another level when it comes to global competence. But one I'm going to highlight, and I'm going to use this as an opportunity to kind of talk a little bit about a program that my office actually offers. And that's the Global Leadership Initiative. This is a program we offer every year in the fall. So we'll be offering it next fall. And it's just a multi-part conference experience where students are actually able to engage in a lot of different leadership building concepts, but in the frame of reference of intercultural communication. So what I want to do is I want to walk you through some of the key components of what it means to be involved in a program like Global Leadership Initiative, but not in just a way that it's involved here on UTD's campus, but in a way that it's engaged across the way, so that things that you can use afterwards, right? So some of the things you can take away from the Global Leadership Initiative, see that first bullet there, develop a comprehensive understanding of leadership in a global context, right? So it's about taking leadership, pulling it to the global perspective. That's something that you're going to be able to utilize everywhere in your life. Second, they're describing one's personal values, beliefs, histories, and perspectives, inform one's view of oneself as an effective leader with and without roles of authority, right? So this program also goes above and beyond to help you develop personal skills, things about yourself, and learn more about yourself and the kind of work that you want to be doing. Also building a network of students, right? Building a network of a very diverse group of students across the board. That sort of networking skills, those are things that are going to be palatable to your future career. Connect and build meaningful relationships with others while recognizing the multiple intersecting identities, perspectives, right? So meaningful relationships. We talk a lot about what it means to have meaningful relationships all throughout leadership programming overall. So we're going to go on to the next one. So teamwork, right? So now that we've talked about global competence, let's talk about our second skill. So global competence, one of our main skills there. And then let's talk about teamwork. So teamwork is about supporting a constructive team climate and working effectively with others to support a shared purpose or goal, right? So almost every opportunity available here at UTD is going to hopefully build into teamwork. And that's something you need to be taking away. If you're doing any sort of on-campus leadership position, doing any sort of on-campus leadership experience, most likely you're going to be utilizing teamwork to some degree. So one that I wanted to highlight, one of the skills that we have here is something called RHA Community Council. So if you've lived in the residence halls or lived on campus, then you might know about RHA or you've at least heard of it. So obviously RHA is a student-led organization. It's open to all residents of the university housing, focuses on large-scale programming and community building, right? So large-scale programming and community building, those are great ways to build teamwork. Another key part there, right? If you're going to be building programs, you're going to have to communicate effectively with a diverse group of people. That's an easy resume statement right there that you can throw on your resume. Because you were involved in RHA, you've learned a certain level of communication, right? Working cooperatively with peers in a team environment, plan and execute large-scale programming, especially in that concept of having like a goal, increase student engagement, being able to work that in as saying like, I worked on a team with a specific goal, and then also practice developing leadership skills through biweekly meetings with peers and professional staff members, right? So also showing that you have those layers and levels to it as well. So the next one we're going to talk about is actually the specific skill of communication. So yes, teamwork and global competence, they both build and they have their own experiences, but we also consider communication wanted to be one of our key marketable skills. So obviously you're going to be picking up communication all along the way, but what communication specifically refers to is articulating thoughts and ideas clearly and effectively in oral, written, and visual forms. So when we talk about that, a lot of things across UT's campus are obviously going to be able to build that up, right? Communication is sort of a key, it's a cornerstone. When you go into the job field, when you start looking for your career, understanding how to best communicate what you do is going to be the absolute key, like one of the most key skills you have. And a lot of even attending a program like this is going to even help to build your communication skills because you become better at articulating the vision of who you are, right? Marketable skills, the whole program is built on communication. But a specific thing that you could get involved in right now, or you might be able to get involved in the next year, is becoming an orientation leader, right? Being an orientation leader is a great opportunity to learn about communication. You learn leadership theory and practice. You lead a diverse population through team activities. You serve on a group, a team, with a specific goal and purpose in mind. You have to talk about complex university policies to students and families. You're constantly working directly with people. You have a dynamic environment, organizing events for literally hundreds of guests. Used to be when we were not virtual, still hundreds of guests, just virtually hundreds of guests. But then also having to understand how schedules, materials, and also using things like customer service. This is super key. All of this is key to building communication. So orientation leader position is such a great way to, like, if this is maybe your first thing, or maybe you attended orientation when you were first coming in, great way to build your communication skills to be an orientation leader. So this is just one of many. So I want to reiterate that each of these experiences I'm highlighting are just one of the many opportunities that are out there. I wanted to give you guys just a key example of what each of these marketable skills can be learned from, and specific opportunities you can take advantage of right now that might be able to help you build those skills if that's something you want to do, right? So if you need to work on your teamwork skills, need to work on your communication skills, you can find opportunities available right here at UTD that are already being there's already built-in experience, right, that you're going to be able to transfer over to your future. Okay, let's go to the next one. So, there we go. So problem solving, right? So problem solving talks about defining problems and then exploring possible courses of action and identifying and implementing solutions and evaluating results, right? So this is a little bit of a more complex marketable skill, right? And if you are able to develop and build your problem solving skills, you're going to pretty much be able to flourish in any environment. Because it means that when you're handed a complex issue, you're able to decide on yourself autonomously how to move forward with that. So a really great experience that you can get involved in right now that would help you to learn about problem solving skills is the Student Union Activities Advisory Board and Media Theater Board. So literally right off the bat, demonstrate ability to solve problems that arise before and during the day of event, right? So when you're hosting or organizing large scale events or even small scale events, there are so many logistical situations that come up that you're going to be able to solve and work through over the course of that event. And that's one of the great availabilities of this, right? Additionally, you get to discuss and explore creative solutions to new issues, right? Explore creative solutions. So the key part there is that means sometimes when you're handed a blank canvas, what are you able to come up with? These sorts of experiences, Student Union Activities Board, Media Theater Board, you're going to be given that situation or circumstance, whether it's a blank canvas or whether it's a canvas that's already been started and you have to go and add in your special flair. These are situations where you're going to be utilizing problem solving. And then obviously carrying out plans to prevent future issues, right? Learning from what we did and then using those skills that you learn to apply them to the next event or the next program or next thing. These are skills that immediately transfer over, right? If you are in any career field, you're going to jump in and you're going to be like, wow, I when I'm handed a project or a thing, I'm able to immediately go and assess how I'm going to move forward with that. So that's the key part of problem solving. And then lastly, let's talk about the fifth marketable skill. So like I said, we have just 5 marketable skills that we talk about here at UTD in student affairs here in our student programming. And so the last one is professionalism. And the way that we define this is that it's about exhibiting personal accountability, integrity, and effective work habits and recognizing contributions of others. Okay. So it's about personal accountability, integrity, and effective work habits. So those are how we're defining professionalism. Obviously, some people might define it in a different way. You might think of it in a different way, but this is how we're defining it for our usage here at UTD. And what that means for you is that obviously there's going to, I would say, arguably everything you do also is going to have a degree of professionalism, right? You have to learn the way that we communicate with others. You have to learn this sort of thing. So, but one really great opportunity I want to highlight is alternative spring break programs. So by attending alternative spring break, right, they were able to participate in an immersive week of hands-on service focusing on a specific social issue, develop leadership and relationship skills through team-based service activities, and gain the necessary knowledge and skills to be an informed, active, and engaged citizen, right? So what I love about that event and that program is that it's students going out into the communities and being able to build external relationships with people out there in the community, be able to build that up. That is a key part of learning the professionalism aspect, right? So gaining that knowledge and then utilizing that knowledge to connect and communicate with the people that you're working with. That is integral to succeeding in this marketable skill, specifically in professionalism. So overall, that's the 5 skills. And again, like I said, these are just a few key examples that I thought were really great examples of each of these skills. But there's so many additional opportunities at UTD that you can take advantage of every day. You know, whether it's attending a program through the Career Services Center, Career Services, or whether it's coming to a student leadership program, coming to one of our events that we host, doing our leadership training program that we do. All of these are opportunities to start building up these skills now, because what you'll realize is that the more that you key in to what these 5 things are and find ways to connect each of your experiences back to one of these 5 things, the easier it's going to be able to be to articulate to an employer exactly what you're good at. One thing that I always say when you're sitting down in front of an employer is that if you can connect your experiences to specific definable goals that you've accomplished, specific experiences you've had, you're going to be able to immediately impress an employer, because most employers are looking for definable experiences. Coming in and saying, I'm a great communicator, doesn't have the same ring as being able to say, oh, well, I was a orientation leader. And through orientation leading, I had to lead a group of 100 students. And in that, I had to communicate to them what they were supposed to get done, when they were supposed to get it done. That comes off as a extremely definable experience. So someone's able to say, okay, now I can look at that experience and I know that they're going to be able to accomplish the job that I want them to do in my career. So that's how we are going to bring these 5 together. And I'm going to pass it over to Alyssa so Alyssa can go into more depth about what that looks like overall, maybe in the internship process as well. But I definitely want you to think about that direction, right? How do we bring these 5 skills into our specific experiences moving forward? But okay, Alyssa.
Thank you, Jerry. So just really quick, we're going to move over to this Menti poll. And I'm going to get that set up. So we're encouraging you to participate in this really quick. And we're asking, what are campus events or leadership roles you've held that fill a marketable skill? So think about some of the stuff you've attended or maybe some leadership roles you've had on campus. And you can go to menti.com and use the code 71665307 and participate in our Menti poll. And we'll give you guys a minute to just put in your answers. Let us know what you've experienced. What are some things that you think are going to be valuable experiences to communicate during your internship search process? Alternative spring break, absolutely. That's a great one that Jerry just brought up. See if we could get any other. Oh yeah, OIT help desk on campus job. That's definitely a really great type of job to have on campus because you learn a lot of different technical and personal skills that you can use and communicate during your search process. Orientation leader, of course. Those are great examples. And fun fact, Jerry was kind of like an OIT help desk type of person. And look where he is now. He's an assistant director. Isn't that amazing? Certificate of Diversity and Inclusion leader with the LLCs, general customer services and communication skills, SOC office worker. Perfect. Those are great answers. All right. Thanks everybody for participating in that. Just give me a minute and we're going to go back over to the PowerPoint and we'll talk more about how to use these skills, these marketable skills during your internship search. All right, so why do companies care about marketable skills? So the leading authority on internships and job search, NACE, the National Association of Colleges and Employers, have this framework called the core competencies. And it's actually very similar and it inspired the marketable skills campaign. And these competencies include critical thinking, problem solving, oral written communication, teamwork, collaboration, digital technology, leadership, professionalism, and work ethic, career management, global and intercultural fluency. So basically, the marketable skills come from the competencies. And NACE actually says that career readiness is the attainment and demonstration of requisite competencies that broadly prepare college graduates for successful transition into the workplace. So, just for the sake of not really repeating what Jerry has already said, being able to communicate these skills and show examples of how you have applied these skills on campus in leadership roles during event planning or maybe even in prior jobs that you've had, it really puts you a step above the rest when it comes to the application process. Being able to communicate that and show that you've had these valuable experiences will definitely push you forward in that job search process. So I put together a quick little chart of some action verbs that would be useful to you when you're trying to communicate these skills during the internship search process. So you can use these on your resume, on your cover letter, and sometimes applications even have short answer portions where you can type out an example of some of the things that you've done or how you would handle a certain situation. So definitely take these verbs into mind. There's plenty of resources online across the internet with us, the University Career Center, on our resources page on our website that have just lists upon lists of verbs that you can use to effectively communicate the skills that you possess and that you've demonstrated in past experiences, such as on campus leadership experiences. So, for example, for teamwork, you can say, if you were in the Residence Hall Association on campus, I collaborated with Residence Hall leadership, full time staff members, and other students to provide programming 3 times a month to our freshman Residence Hall population. So that's a good example of how you could communicate some of those skills during that search process. So we want to bring it all together for you guys and just emphasize that even if you haven't had work experience yet, there are a lot of ways for you to leverage your on-campus involvement during your internship search. If you get an interview, employers already know that you can do the job. That's why they are giving you an interview. But the interview is to really assess how you will act in a work environment. And that is based a lot on these skills that you possess and that you're able to communicate. So think about the marketable skills that you've attained through on campus involvement and learn how to incorporate them during your internship and job search. And Jerry, do you have more to add?
I think the only thing I want to add there is just knowing that, and I kind of mentioned this earlier, right? But at the end of the day, every experience that you've had can be utilized to articulate what your future looks like. And I think that sometimes we overlook some of our experiences because we don't think enough about where it connects and how it connects, right? And so if you're able to sit down and just identify, I mean, what I love about the marketable skills is that you're able to immediately put most of your experiences into the categories, right? And so the next time you're asked, can you tell us about a time you were a good communicator? You're able to immediately pull specific experiences that you've had. And for me, that is invaluable as a leader, right? Being able to know what you've been able to do and been able to accomplish. And even if it's something as small, something I always tell students when I'm working with them is that sometimes they come to me and they say, Jerry, well, I've had no experiences. I've never had an experience. And I say, well, I don't think that's 100% true, because for most of us, we try to frame, you try to go directly, well, work experience or job experience or club. You might have not had any of that, but in your life, you've had to have had some experience that has led you to where you are. You don't just float through life just existing, right? So there's something out there, whether it was a classroom experience, that you're going to be able to draw on to talk into each of these categories and to commit yourself to one of these So anytime you're asked a question like that, you're able to immediately draw on that. So I would just encourage you. One of my greatest one of the things I try to do with every student I work with is have them list out their experiences and separate them into categories so that they immediately have a list. It's like building a toolbox, right? It's like building a toolbox of skills that you're able to pull on the next time that you're in an interview, the next time that you're talking about yourself, the next time that you're trying to do that. So that's all I'll add. I know it's a bit redundant, but I just think that it's really keen to think about, can I put this into certain boxes or categories and utilize this for specific experiences?
Yeah, that's really great advice. And I completely agree with the toolbox and just keeping track of everything that you've done so far and which skills apply to those experiences. I think that's great advice. So now we're going to move on to questions and answers. Feel free to put that. It should be on the right hand side. It's a little box with a question mark in it. Kayla, do we have any questions that are popping up right now?
Not at this time.
Okay, perfect. We can wait a minute. See if anything comes in. And just remember that you can always contact us at the University Career Center. And Jerry, I'd love for you to maybe throw out some of the services that your office offers.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you don't know about student leadership programs, I'll briefly give you just sort of the overview. One of our key programs we offer every semester is an opportunity to get certified in the Student Leadership Challenge, which is a 5-part leadership seminar that you can attend. By doing so, you get an official certification showing that you've completed it, that you can put on your resume, on your LinkedIn. I've seen students do that. But also, it's just a great way to articulate some specific leadership skills. We offer that every semester. The last 2, you've been able to do that asynchronously, so you can actually do it virtually on your own time. But traditionally, those are held in person before that. Additionally, we also offer Strings Quest. Hopefully, usually we can get Strings Quest codes out when possible to if you just shoot us an email. And then additionally, we occasionally have some standalone experiences, standalone leadership experience. But like I said earlier, we usually have the Global Leadership Initiative in the fall. And then usually we have a leadership speaker in the spring is usually a thing that we try to do. And then occasionally we'll have some single one-off leadership sort of seminars, things like that, because we're really just trying to provide that service of like, how do we build our leadership skills externally of a club or an organization? That's sort of the key point of what our office does. So the marketable skills program is also just sort of coordinated out of our office, just knowing what sorts of things you might have, experiences you might have. So if you ever want to talk about that as well, I'm your guy, and we can talk about some of your marketable skills. But
thank you so much for that great explanation of what you all do. Kayla, any other questions that are coming in?
We did just get one question. So the question is, what is more valuable, holding one leadership position for a long time or having multiple short leadership positions?
Ooh, I'll let Jerry take that one. I think he'd have a pretty good answer for that.
Ooh,
Maybe.
it's a tough question, right? I think that it boils down to what you're trying to accomplish and what you want to accomplish, I guess. And the way that you see yourself, you know what I mean? Like versus like, because just thinking about like the time held, I think it really just boils down to like what your end goal is, and then you have to kind of formulate from there, like what do I want to do or what's going to be more effective for what my end experience is. So I don't know. It's I know that's a bit of a kind of a roundabout answer, but in my mind, it's really just about you have to take a look at what your end goal is, what you want to accomplish, and then go backwards. That's what I always say, right? So, if your end goal is to be, I don't know, president of a university, look at what experiences comprise the president of a university and work backwards, and then see how you can accomplish or get all those experiences on your way. So that's just the only way I could think of that. But Alyssa, I don't know.
No, I completely agree. It does really depend on what your goals are. And if they're short term goals, then yeah, I think the experiences that you hold or the leadership positions that you hold are going to be shorter in general. When it comes to on campus stuff, I mean, that stuff is going to be short term no matter what, especially if you're trying to move up in your organization that you care about. You know, you're only going to hold a certain position for a short amount of time because you're wanting to gradually move up in your executive board or whatever it would be. So I think later on down the line, when it comes to full time careers, I think the longer you're in a position looks better. Uh, but yeah, I do agree with Jerry that in general, it does depend on what your goals are and how you want to achieve them. And if it's holding different things for a short amount of time, then that's the way you got to do it. Uh, if not, then stick with it as long as you can. Any other questions, Kayla?
I think that's the only one.
Okay, cool. We'll go ahead and wrap this up. So, just a quick reminder, as I mentioned at the beginning, it's National Internship Awareness Month. So, we have a lot of great events that are going on, and we'd love for you to join us and learn more about how different experiences can impact your internship search and how you can leverage that. We have great panels that are taking place that are very student focused and cover a lot of different student populations that are really eager to talk about their internship experiences related to their identity group. And then, of course, we have our job and internship scams event at the end. We definitely encourage you to come and be involved in that because scams are at an all-time high. We have been getting a lot of notifications from students of being victims of scams. So please come and learn about that and make sure that you stay safe and aware. And I think Jerry maybe wanted to mention a little bit about upcoming stuff with his office.
Yeah, the only thing I really want to key in on is that right now the Student Leadership Awards applications and nominations are open. So if you are seeing this now or close to when this airs or goes live or whatever, then you should totally go onto our Student Leadership Presence page, Student Leadership Programs on Presence. You can access all of the nomination forms from there. And hopefully you can nominate yourself or nominate someone you think is deserving of an award.
Awesome. So if you want to get in touch with us, here's our contact information. We are always happy to communicate with you and help you with whatever you need. And we just want to say one last thank you and be well and stay safe. And hopefully we'll see you soon.